Hello, if you're a local business in SA and you want Vince and I to join you on site for one of our live recording sessions of our podcast Livin', please reach out to us at hello@livinpodcast.com.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for expanded reach, customer interactions, and some authentic storytelling opportunities for your brand and business.
Not to mention fun.
Of course, it's fun. So email us today at hello@livinpodcast.com or via Instagram @livin_podcast, and we'll see you on site really soon. Turned off your webcam, blurred out your face. Don't share any personal details.
Oh, yes, I know. Oh, they've already taken my digital ID of my facial expression.
I can't even get into it. I don't even know if I should talk about it.
Really?
Digital ID?
I know.
I've got issues with mine. Bad.
Wow. I think you can't confuse me once I scan my nose. There she is. Can't be anyone else.
It's like me. Is that Alf? Oh, no, it's just Vince.
Good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us on another episode of a Livin' Podcast with your hosts, Nancy Timpano.
And Vince Fusco, back on the couch for another Monday morning. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah. I'm extremely well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good.
You good?
I'm really good. I've had a really fantastic couple of weeks. Can I just tell you?
Oh, that's awesome.
I love hearing that. Not that I don't have great weeks every other week, but you know when like things just feel like they are going beautifully. You're flowing. Yep. Everything's nice. Everything's nice. Yeah.
Love that. Well, I've had a good week as well. However, there was a big education lesson for me this week that I attended at my son's school, a keeping kids safe on social media.
Oof, okay, strap in.
And I kind of just went going like, oh yeah, you know, going back now, it's probably 8 weeks that I banned him from Roblox, just my own, you know, ideas and whatever. Decided, you know what, don't love what I'm hearing, so off you go for that. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what, if I'm going to, I banned him, but I can't say I know a great deal about it all. So I thought, you know what, they're having this workshop, why not go along? So I did, and it was mind-blowing for me. And this apparently there's an even better one that's really going to educate us even more about keeping our kids safe online coming up early next year. But it just taught me how they come up with these games and stuff and why. So, you know, they're saying how, like, my son is obsessed in the mornings. He has got blooming YouTube on the television, and it's just the 30-second shorts clips that just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And it does my head in. Yep. Firstly, most of the time, their voices, it's just crazy, right? And it's literally, they talk about this subject, that subject, this subject, and I'm like, my brain is hurting by now. Yeah. And it was kind of explained from someone there that they design these things like shorts that just change constantly. It's designed like a poker machine.
Oh, you just took the words out of my mouth. You know the sounds that we used, like you hear them in the casino, ding, 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 ding.
But it's not even just that. It's also the colour, because it's constantly changing. Well, so if you think of the poker machine, it's constantly, and every now and then you pull the trigger and you get a win, and that's where you get the dopamine hit.
Yes.
And so therefore they might see one that they love and go, oh, that was awesome. I'll scroll until I get another one I love.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm taking notes, right? Because I'm just putting a couple of dot points as you talk, because there are some really key points here that I want to talk about.
And so I just went, wow, that is exactly how it works. And it's for us adults as well. We get caught, I get caught, doom scrolling, on Instagram and stuff like that. And it's that dopamine hit of, how many likes did I get? How many follows did I get today? How many whatevers. Yeah. So it really was an eye-opener for me. So again, I came home and made the change that he's not allowed to do YouTube scrolling like that anymore. And then the whole topic, the reason behind all this was obviously 10th of December. It's the 16 and under ban for social media, which I think is brilliant. And they're saying how we should wean them off, because for some kids that are really, really addicted, it could really cause some major havoc in that household,
Yep.
right? So they're saying just start weaning. So Nancy starts weaning. Look, I'd already taken him off Roblox, but I came home and I went, no more YouTube. That scrolling thing and shorts, not having any of that.
Yeah.
And I said, if you want to watch a show, right, that's got people talking, none of this bloody cartoony, charactery, whatever rubbish.
Brain rot. That's the word
exactly.
I'm looking for.
Exactly right. So, but I'm just trying to start weaning him off. So, come 10th of December,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a.
He doesn't have social media, does he?
Well, he actually does have a YouTube channel.
And I know that YouTube is part of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that will go. It'll vanish,
Yeah.
and that's fine by me. But I have been managing that account in terms of I watch everything. He was just uploading some soccer tricks and things that he does,
Which
in
a lot
the
of kids
backyard.
do. I know a lot of children in the schools that I work with over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
A lot of them have
And
their own sporting YouTube channels.
I'm not saying
specifically.
that's okay or whatever, because that's going anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I had my own little thing that, he had to wear sunglasses in every single upload.
Clever.
I did not
good.
allow
Yeah.
any filming without a pair of sunnies.
I love that.
That's whether that's another conspiracy theory.
No,
or
I don't
whatever.
think it's a conspiracy theory
But
from a few weeks ago.
I make sure of that. And then I just didn't mind because I knew what he was doing, and I literally upload it for him, and I can see what's going on, and it dings up on my phone if there's a comment or whatever.
Yeah.
I like for him to be able to look back and go, oh my God, look at what I was doing when I was 7, 8 and 9 on YouTube. And if he decides to progress with soccer, like, it might just be a fun little thing. But hey, it's going on the 10th of December, so unless I download it all, which knowing me I probably won't, it'll go. But yeah.
No, look, I think there's so much in this topic, right, of online safety when it comes to kids. So as you were talking, I've been writing a heap of things. So let me, if we can,
Yeah.
I want to break them down because I think it's really important to understand, I think, some of the, good.
Break it down.
There's a lot of psychology behind it, specifically around how they treat content
Yes.
for children.
Yep.
To make it so engaging, to release the dopamine
Yep.
of what they're seeing, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned like the colours, the sounds, and you then also referenced pokey machines and things like that, and how it does affect us as adults.
Yep.
So you have to understand that obviously, like, as adults, our brains are pretty well formed, right? From 25 onwards, specifically, and I'll use boys. Boys' brains don't finally finish growing and developing until they're in their sort of mid-20s.
Yep.
But as a child, you know how spongy they are.
Yeah.
And they take in everything that they hear and everything that they see. So when it comes to like the attention span, you also noted like 30-second clips.
Yeah.
Now, the average attention span of adults today has also been dramatically reduced over the last decade with social media and the way that we consume our content.
Is it 17 seconds?
Something like that, yeah,
okay.
17 to 20 seconds, right? But it's also like when it comes to engaging a child, there's a show on Netflix, and I've again done a bit of research on this stuff over the last few years being a dad, because number one, our firstborn did not watch any television for the first year of his life.
Yep.
Didn't even turn it on. He didn't even know what that black thing on the wall was until our second came along, and then we're like, okay, you got a little bit of your classics ABC Kids.
Yeah.
But there's a show on Netflix. It's called Cocomelon, and I know that there's a lot of parents out there, and I don't even know how we found it, just on Netflix, or whether he pointed to it. I don't know, but Cocomelon, we used to say, like, we'd put it on maybe once in a blue moon if we absolutely needed him to sit still.
Yeah.
And even that, upon reflection, I feel like, oh, it's a parent fail. But we used to say it was like crack for kids.
Wow.
And a lot of parents who, if you go and look it up, a lot of people say that, like, what is it about this show? It's just like nursery rhymes and it's CGI, but the scene that you watch doesn't stay the same scene for any longer than 3 seconds.
Wow.
So you might be like in the same scene and the same song, but the visuals will change,
that's a
angle,
lot.
it changes. So every 3 seconds, their brain is re-stimulated by new colours, new perspectives. And so that's what makes it so engaging, because it's hooking their interest, right? So there's that. There's a lot of these shows that do that, and it's a bit like the doom scrolling. The 30-second attention span is all we can have. Music today, you'll notice that a lot of music is getting shorter. Songs on the radio, sort of, and I think that Lil Boo thing that came out a few years ago, I I can't even think of the melody right now, but Lil Boo Thing was like a big TikTok song
Okay.
and Instagram Reel song. And that song, it gets played on the radio, but it's 1:40.
Right.
As opposed to like a 3-minute
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
So even music.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but if you ever get in the car with someone or if they're listening to something and they
Oh,
listen to
they
half a
keep
song
yes.
and then they skip. Go to the next
Oh,
one.
my
They don't even
gosh.
hear the whole song
Yes,
through because our
yes.
brain is like, I'm bored of this now. Because we're
Yes.
so used to these changes.
Yeah.
So like things like that, which are overstimulating us and
But is that
flooding us.
also, like now it's making me think, like I see all the kids nowadays, if I help at school or whatever for any volunteer, they're fidgeting.
Oh, don't
They
even
can't.
get-
They
Okay,
can't
yeah,
sit
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah.
It's like I'm like, have we all got
Yes.
like a rash at the same time? Because everyone cannot keep still. They itch and scratch and touching something.
But it's also like
Like-
they say that, ADHD is on the rise.
Yeah, see, that just makes me. But I even notice like things, and OCD and whatever. I don't know what it is like, but there's little things.
These
that-
little things, because we're
Yeah.
overstimulating them.
Yeah.
We're overstimulated. Even as adults, more adults are being diagnosed. And I think there's probably a few parts we could separate that into, from not only a better understanding today medically about what ADHD is
Yeah.
and what causes it, because it is different for everybody.
That's
and there's a
right.
spectrum like everything. But there's a lot of adults, a lot of women, a lot of adult women
Yeah.
being diagnosed.
Yes.
Because growing up, they're like, girls don't have ADHD. And if you did have ADHD in the 80s or 90s, they didn't know you had ADHD.
Yeah,
They just said
that's correct.
he's a troublesome kid.
Yeah.
He's a rat bag. You know what I mean? He's
Correct.
thick. Thick was always the term. Do you remember
Yeah,
being thick?
yes.
What are you, thick?
Yeah.
So whereas now we have a much better understanding to go, okay, well, like he's got, or they have got a overstimulated brain, a flood of emotions. And then some of the medications they give them, because they lack dopamine internally, they give them the medication, but then that floods the brain with dopamine, but it actually drains it as well. So then they're like, you have such a dip,
Yes.
a crash.
Yes.
So there's, again, a lot to this. And I know the topic is specifically around, like, today we wanted to talk about web safety and, like, being safe with kids and things like that.
And
online.
we're not saying we know all the answers.
Not at
but
all.
We want to talk about it. We want
Because
to
it's a
learn
conversation.
all the things.
Definitely.
Because there's going to be a massive shift and a change.
Which I think is brilliant. And even then, like, upon reflection, when I'm like, but we didn't have this. And
No.
I consider myself, I'm part of that generation of, I fit into the millennial. I'm not a Gen Z, but I do fit in millennial, but I also fit the one before, because I'm born in the 80s, but
Yeah.
we're one of the few generations, or if not the only one, who saw the transition from analog to digital.
Yes.
Right? So I have VHS
Yeah,
tapes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
records.
Yep.
They were normal in our house. We grew up with all of those, to the point where now everything is streaming.
Yeah.
Right? So we've really seen that change. But with that comes reflection. And I go, well, parents say that all the time in my day. Why didn't we have these same problems? We didn't have social media.
Yep.
When I was in high school, Facebook didn't exist.
Yeah, that's
so we
right.
didn't also have that measuring stick of what our peers were doing, or
Yep.
our, the people we're chasing in life. So there's a little bit more to that. Attention spans are down. Sorry, Nance.
Yeah.
Attention spans are down.
Yeah.
ADHD is on the increase. Netflix, and you mentioned like YouTube. So
Yep.
there's this thing on YouTube, even on YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
And my kids, they sometimes, and they've done it recently, they keep going back to YouTube. And we're like, you can't watch YouTube without a grown up in the room, number one. Even if it is kids, they go, Dad, it's kids. That's okay. And we try to explain to them, sometimes people insert things that are not okay for kids. They might scare you. They might make you feel uncomfortable. They might make you think about something that's not nice. But Dad, it's in the kids show. I understand that.
Yep.
But you know what they watch? They watch other kids playing.
Yeah.
They're watching other kids play with toys, unbox toys.
Yeah.
Go play with your own toys. Like
Yeah.
it's a funny thing, this YouTube.
It's really hard. And this night at this workshop, they're saying, and it becomes easier if within your circle of friendships, right? Because you also don't want to be that parent. Well, it's hard for parents that, like, every kid's got something and your kid
That's
doesn't.
us. So our kids,
right?
we've talked about that. They don't
Yes.
have devices.
But what I'm saying is it becomes easier if your boy's immediate circle,
Yes.
if all the parents are on the same page. And there was a parent there that night that said, look, we have made a pact with our circle, something like, I'm not giving my kid a phone until you give your kid a phone. So if you give your kid a phone, you're putting pressure on me. So let's not give them both.
Yeah, I love that.
So do you know what I mean? So they've made a pact because then that little circle of friendships isn't being left out.
Yeah.
He hasn't got anything else to compare to because their immediate circle
Yeah.
is in the same boat. And they were also saying, because I was also saying, look, you know, my son's 9 and he's saying, Mum, but it's a private server, you know, which means you can only have friends that, you know, invited in to play against and blah, blah, blah. But then there comes the thing that maybe there's someone that wants to join and they'd exclude that person.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, well, that's a lot safer, a private server. But then there's still that whole thing
The
that
element of
kids
exclusion.
get left out.
And that becomes part of, I guess, like the online bullying.
Yes.
Where it starts. That part of the online exclusion, and then that becomes part of our societal dynamic.
right.
So then the kids go to school and it becomes a point of tension.
Yes.
So even that, like, you know, the pressure, I love the idea of families making pacts.
Yeah.
And also I think it's really important that other families respect the request of other
Correct.
parents. So like when our kids stay at friends' houses, we get a message. No Fortnite, I assume.
Yeah.
But is Mario Kart okay? Sure. Mario Kart, no worries. Go for it. They'll love it. But definitely no Fortnite.
Yeah,
But they have seen it.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard I try to protect them, because they have older cousins, and the older cousins bring the bloody Nintendo Switch to every event.
Yeah.
And they all just sit there. And I remember, I'll never forget, I think it was Leonardo's like second birthday. All the cousins were sitting on our long couch upstairs and they were all on their phones or Switches. And Leonardo went one by one and was like, do you guys want to play? Do you guys want to play? And no one wanted to play anything physically. And it just made me go, that's the state of where we're going, isn't it? And then you sort of move into like what you see in the games. Because now the games have been infiltrated from
correct.
like a content point of view and what people do in there. But then people get very confident, specifically teenagers, very comfortable to say something online behind a computer character, behind an avatar, behind a keyboard, behind a screen. And I have a rule that if I wouldn't say it to your face, I will not say it at all. Right? So I think that's something that we need to remember because the online bullying is rife. Now, I did pull up some stats, right? Because I think that's important that we have something to back this up, right? So when it comes to cyberbullying, over half of children that are online have been cyberbullied, right? And the most recent experiences are usually around social media. And that comes with a whole raft of different elements and impacts for both boys and girls. For girls, there's a lot of body image, obviously, which is in and of itself. And that's not to say boys don't suffer that too, because again, boys have the same reflection, introspection of like, is my body okay? How do I look? How do I feel? How do I show up? Exposure to harmful content that we mentioned, like within gaming or just online. So children aged between 10 and 15, 71% of them have encountered harmful content and 57% of them are seeing online hate. So hate speech, that bullying, like what is happening out here,
I wish
guys?
I'd bought my pamphlet from that night as well because I have banned Jaden from Roblox. 20% came from Roblox.
Well, Roblox is also in the media at the moment for a much bigger discussion around being a grooming ground and basically a playground for pedophiles and predators online. So when it comes to grooming, 1 in 7 children have reported experiencing online grooming type behaviours such as being asked for nude images.
Wow.
Now, even that, so we talked about this a little bit before we started, but about sharing images of our kids. And even then, like I've said my children's name, I said it again in this episode, and as I said it, I was like, shouldn't have done that. And it's funny because I guess like it seems so harmless. And yet with the technological advances that we see with AI in particular, if the computer can create an entire movie, if I can have a voice clone, if I can have my face regenerated, or like they've highlighted in a lot of the online safety things about sharing images of your kids, no matter what age, because then they can generate the whole, like, this is what they will look like. And there's a great ad. Again, what we will do is I'll link to these ads I've referenced today. There's one with like, they did it in a cinema where they had a bunch of parents and the daughter comes up on the screen and she's like, I've been taken, da-da-da-da-da. And she says like, but I'm also fake, I'm AI generated. And the parents are in shock. They're like, how did you do that? And they then show the parents in this experiment, we took this photo and her voice and we were able to do this. And that happens quite a bit where now they're using them in scams where like they'll use your voice, ring your mum, or you get those text messages, hey mum, I've got no money, I've left my phone home, can you transfer me? And people fall for it because you're pulling on the heartstrings, you hit the emotion, right? But when it comes to sharing images, last night I did see this one about, again, just reminding parents of the importance of not sharing images or details, your kids' birthdays, where they go to school, their interests. And again, it seems so harmless, doesn't it? But that builds a profile. And you mentioned digital identity at the beginning of the show. Now, I've opted for my digital identity. I think we had to at some point when you're using your government logins or whatever it is these days. They're trying to digitize everything. But I've actually been locked out of mine for some time and I can't get back into it. But one night when I was at a wedding, I was working and at about 11:30 I get an email saying, you're trying to get into your thing. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not trying to get into it.
Oh my gosh.
And then I have very good strong passwords on my things and it's not the same one across anything. But it's like, I haven't actually been able to get back in. But then to go through the rigmarole and the process.
Oh my God.
To actually get it resolved, I can't, I'm in circles. I haven't actually spoken to a human being once.
Yeah.
The computers can't help me.
Yeah.
So I'm just leaving it. But I'm also like, am I an idiot for that? Am I an idiot for saying this on the podcast out publicly? Is someone out there listening and being like, great, let's go attack that?
Oh, I don't know about that, but it is very, very frightening. And at this workshop, they were basically, the moral of the story is let's bring back the play dates.
100%.
Like after school, bring back the outside play, and then
But have they stopped?
Yeah, well, they have to some degree because the kids are keen to get home and get on their devices.
Yeah, I guess so.
So they're saying, like, in order to help this transition now, bring back the play dates because, and then, some parents were saying, well, I've got YouTube on my phone. So what's to say the kid can't grab my phone? And they're saying that they will be, like, monitoring, like if it's my YouTube account, but it's constantly showing
viewing his type of content,
they will ban me. Oh. And then over time, they will also basically be creating a digital ID of my face every time I look and at the screen.
Well, your phone's already doing that. So your iPhone is already taking that infrared picture of us every 15 or 30 seconds.
I know.
Or something.
So therefore, if Jaden starts taking my phone, they'll be like, hang on a minute. That's a different.
But isn't that just a complete state of surveillance? Don't you think to me that's an outright.
Oh, I'm not giving an opinion on that.
Breach.
I'm just saying that, what was coming up that night.
I totally get
and,
that.
And people saying there is ways. Yeah, there will be ways, but let's not try and figure out the way to rort it. Let's just drop it.
Can't we just accept it? Accept that it's for the betterment of our society. It's for the betterment of our children's mental health and their safety and their well-being. And even then, I did go back through my Instagram to see how many photos of my kids I've shared, and there's actually not that many, which is good. But even then, I'm like, should I delete them? But then you're like, but I want them
memories.
I want memories, and the problem with wanting those memories, right, is that photos. Yeah. They're all on our phone. I know. Unless you get them printed. And I will say that Joy is very good at printing them, and she has like photo album projects that she puts together, and bless her for that. And we do reference them. How often do you go back to your computer or your phone and actually scroll back if it's not being served to you on your home screen where it is like, here's your memory from this time last year or 5 years ago. Right. But when you actually go back, it's much harder to access those things. Absolutely. And sometimes you lose them. When you change devices, you don't, I don't even know which ones I've lost.
Especially me.
Oh, you're lucky to even still know how to get
I was
into the
born
computer.
Looking like this and I still look like this because all the other photos have gone.
But it is a really confronting space. Yeah. The digital space.
Yeah. And next year at our school, year fives, get to take home laptops.
Yeah.
So basically parents are not able to take home a laptop for their child unless they have gone and sat through the Carly Ryan workshop.
Absolutely.
Which apparently they're saying bring the kids to it. Bring it because it's very educational. And then that night it was also discussed that obviously at schools they can put blocks in place of what the kids can and can't access on their computers. But they're saying, however, they do spot checks. So once the kids got this computer home and using the home Wi-Fi, they can't then monitor everything. But when they're doing spot checks, they can see the type of content that is being viewed. And they are basically telling us parents, guys, some of your kids are looking at pornography.
Well, it's right there.
Because when we look at the time capsule, it's at 6 p.m. when they're home with you. So please be alert when your kids and other parents were saying we've got the no device in the bedroom rule. So then they're always out in the open. Just all these things that was very informative for me.
I was talking with someone just recently and they were saying, and it was actually somebody who is in the space too, now that I recall this conversation, who is in the web safety space.
Yeah.
And they were saying they've got older kids and younger kids. And all of the kids have a TV or a computer in their room. They all have an Xbox in their room, for example. And I was like, I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
Because again, like all I wanted growing up was a TV in my room.
Yeah, I know.
What a dream, right? But now when I think about it, I'm like, definitely like I don't have a TV in my room now as an adult.
Yeah.
Because that's a place of rest.
Yeah.
But then the kids are like, oh, can we have TVs? Can we have a computer when I get older? I said, well, that's why we built the study. Yeah. That's for you to go work out there. You want a computer? You do it out here where I can see it. Oh, but Dad, no, there's no ifs or buts about it.
Yep.
Because again, like not only are you giving them access to all the information in the world that we talked about, like we've got access to everything, but then we're giving outsiders, people who are technically savvy, people who do have the intent to rort, exploit, take advantage of. We're giving them access to our children's bedrooms.
Yeah, I know.
And I know that we go, but the computer's off. The camera's not on. Yeah. But you don't know.
Yeah, I know.
You never know. And I've like even when I've worked in the digital space for a long time now, and all my devices, except for my telephone, have a little camera cover. So I slide it across for my meetings and then cover it over. Yeah. Because you don't know. It is a really scary space, and we're not trying to scare people, but we just want to open the conversation today as parents ourselves, as people who are trying to raise humans in a safe way and help them understand. And I'm so happy to hear that, like you said, like even the Carly Ryan workshop to talk about it, because when I was in school, we had police officers come out and talk about driving and road safety for those who are getting their license. My nephew just went and did it. I did it as a kid, a teenager, went to the entertainment center, and you see the road safety workshop where they simulate a car accident and talk about that. They also have car crash survivors talk about what happened. That is such a shocking wake-up call for a teenager. I think that we need to do the same for our children today about digital safety and online safety.
That's right. And it was also discussed that, you know how we say that, your kid some kids need a phone when they're young because they might walk home from school, right? But say, for example, our school, like there's a lock-up thing. If you do have a phone for whatever reason, as soon as you walk into class, that phone gets taken, it gets put in the locker.
Love it.
And then you're not even allowed to turn it on while you're on the school premises. Yeah. Because like the school wants nothing to do with it. Once 100%. You're out in the footpath, they can't monitor that, right? Yeah. But they're saying that yes, some parents feel more comfortable because they can track their kids walking home from school, yada,
Put an
yada,
AirTag
yada.
on them.
But then they're also saying the crime rate with that kind of stuff has decreased dramatically, right? As opposed to the online stuff has gone through the roof. Yeah. So they're not saying like things can't happen if your kids are walking home alone, but what they're saying, the stats show that level of crime has decreased, but it's the other stuff that if we're not monitoring and managing behind closed doors, that's where the numbers are very, very high.
Yeah, and then you hear these horror stories of young boys and young girls who are, going through awful mental anguish and mental health issues because they have been, scammed or they have been photographed in their bedroom and, they're saying, well, we'll send it to everybody. And so like that pressure of then also not being able to speak about it for fear of judgment, shame, embarrassment, that they then take their own lives. And that's not where we want to be as a society.
No, absolutely
is putting these kids in these vulnerable positions.
If you've attended something, a workshop that you found really helpful, let us know. Send us the link and we'll share it.
Definitely,
because,
definitely.
The more informed we are, the better, the safer our kids are.
100%. 100%. There was a statistic the other day that Joy said to me. It was about we're talking about walking home, and I think I started walking home to and from school in primary school, but it was with a friend whose dad walked him to and from school every single day of his life. Yeah. And every mum was like, if John's there, like you can meet, I'll walk you down to the playground. When we cross at the road, you go with John and then I'll pick you up at the same point. And that happened quite a bit. And then my father-in-law, who was recently here, he was saying he was about 6 when they lived in America and he would have to walk about 2 miles to get to school by himself as a 6-year-old. And he's one of 8 children, but like there's older ones, younger ones, And we were like, wow, like that's a long way for a 6-year-old. Like I can't imagine sending my 6-year-old to walk 2 miles to school by himself across a lagoon or something, I think you said. And it was that then Joya put out the statistic that like somebody in a safety workshop had just said like statistically, I think the kids had to be alone and outside for like 750,000 hours or something, which for them to be abducted. Like it was a really crazy number of which you go like, that's the reality of the chances of your child being taken, for example. Doesn't feel good to even say those things. And yes, you go, well, that's a very small percentage. But I'm like, it's still a percentage.
Correct.
Like,
still happen.
I just can't think of anything worse.
No, absolutely
so,
not.
you know, like Nancy said, share with us your links to any of the online safety workshops, anything that you've encountered. If your workplace, your school, your friendship circles have great little arrangements about supporting each other and sharing this information, share it with us.
Yes,
because we want to share it too, because we just want everyone to be safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love it. Well, look, we need to go sort out our own digital IDs.
Yes.
I know I certainly do.
Okay.
And keep yourself safe online.
Absolutely. Everyone out there, thanks for joining us on another episode of Livin'. See you next week.
See you next week.
Am I living? Oh, what a funny thing to say. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day, on a cloudy